Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the English Hour. And today I have Jacob with me once again. How are you, Jacob?
I'm doing great, Sophia. It's always exciting to be back on the show. What are we talking about today?
I thought we could dive into something we all face in our daily lives, making decisions. From small ones like choosing what to eat, to big ones like changing careers. Sound good?
Absolutely, decisions shape our lives, and sometimes even the smallest choice can lead to a major change.
So true. Let's start with a question. Do you consider yourself a quick decision maker or someone who takes time?
Honestly, I take my time. I like to weigh the pros and cons, maybe even overthink a little. How about you?
I'm the opposite. I tend to go with my gut feeling. If it feels right, I just go for it.
Interesting, do you ever regret making decisions that way?
Sometimes, but I believe mistakes are part of learning. Even a bad decision teaches you something, right?
That's a great point. I think people often fear making the wrong choice, so they stay stuck.
Yes. And that's where confidence comes in. Even if the outcome isn't perfect, at least you moved forward.
Exactly. I've read that successful people often make decisions quickly and change them slowly. It's about commitment.
Oh, I love that idea. Committing to a decision really helps you put in your best effort instead of second guessing all the time.
Do you think cultural background affects how we make decisions?
Absolutely. In some cultures, collective decision making is common, where family or community input plays a huge role. In others, it's all about individual choice.
That's true. In my family, we always discuss big decisions together. Even something like buying a car becomes a group project.
I can relate. Growing up, I saw how much value my parents placed on thinking things through together. It taught me the value of listening.
And in a way, that builds strong communication skills too, doesn't it?
It really does. Speaking of which, what's one decision you made that changed your life?
I'd say quitting my first job to travel for a year. It was scary, but it helped me discover who I really am.
That sounds amazing. I bet you learned so much from those experiences.
Definitely. It taught me adaptability, patience, and how to live with uncertainty.
I think stories like that inspire people. Taking that leap of faith, even when you're unsure.
And sometimes not deciding is the worst decision of all.
So true. Life won't wait forever while we sit on the fence.
Have you ever made a decision that felt small at the time but ended up being huge?
Yes, signing up for a public speaking course. I didn't think much of it then, but now it's a big part of my life and career.
That's amazing. It's funny how those little moments lead to big opportunities.
Life really is a chain of decisions. Each one builds on the last.
I love that you said life is a chain of decisions. It's like every choice is a stepping stone, even the ones that seem irrelevant.
Exactly. Sometimes, even saying yes to a random invitation can lead you to meet someone who changes your life.
Oh, I have a story about that. A few years ago, a friend invited me to a photography workshop. I wasn't even interested in photography, but I went just to be polite. And guess what?
What happened?
I met someone there who later became my business partner. We ended up starting a small content agency together.
That's incredible. And all because you said yes to something you almost skipped.
Yep, that moment taught me that not all decisions have to make perfect sense in the beginning.
You know, sometimes people think they need to have all the answers before they decide. But life doesn't work like that, does it?
Not at all. It's like driving in fog, you can only see a few meters ahead, but you can still make the whole journey that way.
What a beautiful metaphor. Step by step, the road becomes clearer.
Have you ever faced a decision that completely scared you?
Oh yes, hosting my first live radio show. I was terrified. I kept thinking, what if I mess up? What if I forget what to say?
But you did it anyway.
I did. I stumbled a little, sure, but the experience gave me the courage to try even more new things.
That's inspiring. Sometimes we think confidence comes before action, but actually, action builds confidence.
Well said. Confidence is earned through doing, not thinking.
You know what else helps? Talking things out, just like we're doing now. It's amazing how a conversation can bring clarity.
Absolutely. When you express your thoughts out loud, they start to make more sense. That's why I always encourage journaling too.
Oh, I do that. I've been journaling every morning for the past year. It really helps organize my thoughts and understand my emotions.
That's fantastic. Journaling is like having a conversation with yourself without judgment.
And sometimes, after writing, I realize that a problem isn't as big as it felt in my head.
So true. Clarity comes from reflection. That's something I wish schools taught more often.
Me too. Decision making is a life skill just like communication or managing emotions.
Imagine if kids were taught how to evaluate choices, manage regret, or understand their values from a young age.
That would make a huge difference. Most of us only learn by trial and error and lots of it.
Which is why conversations like this matter. Sharing stories, mistakes, lessons, it helps people realize they're not alone.
Exactly. And we all need reminders that it's okay to mess up sometimes.
Speaking of which, what's a decision you regret, but also learned a lot from?
I once took a job just for the money. I ignored every red flag during the interview. 6 months in, I was totally burned out.
Oof, that must have been tough.
It was. But it taught me to value company culture, work-life balance, and doing meaningful work over just a paycheck.
Powerful lesson. I think we've all been tempted by comfort or safety, even when it's not aligned with our values.
Definitely. And sometimes saying no is just as important as saying yes.
Yes, saying no can protect your time, energy, and mental health.
And it frees up space for the right opportunities to come in.
You're on fire today, Jacob. These are such golden nuggets of wisdom.
Haha, thank you. I think it's the topic, it's something we all deal with no matter our age or background.
100%. Whether you're choosing a career, a partner, or what to do with your weekend, decisions shape your path.
And the more we practice conscious decision making, the more intentional our lives become.
Beautifully said. Let's take a quick moment to ask our listeners, what's one decision you made that changed your life?
We'd love to hear your stories. Big or small, every decision matters. Share it in the comments or send us a message.
This has been such a rich conversation, and I feel like we could go on forever.
Let's definitely keep going. This is one of those topics where you could peel back layer after layer and still find something new.
Totally agree. Okay, let me ask you something a bit personal. Have you ever faced a moment where everyone expected you to choose one path, but deep down, you knew you had to go the other way?
Oh, yes. Right after university, most of my friends went straight into stable 9 to 5 jobs. There was this unspoken pressure to do the same. But I felt this pull toward freelancing and creative work, even though it was uncertain.
That's a bold move. Did people doubt you?
So many did. Even my parents were like, "Are you sure this isn't just a phase?" But I just knew I wouldn't be happy doing something safe, but soul-crushing.
And looking back, was it the right decision?
Absolutely. It wasn't easy, but I've learned more in these few years than I ever could have in a traditional job. Plus, I built a lifestyle that works for me.
That takes courage, Jacob. Going against the grain is never easy.
Have you ever had to do that?
Yes. When I left my first job in television to focus on independent media, people thought I was throwing away a big opportunity. But that job didn't align with who I was. I wanted to create something more authentic. Something that connected with people on a deeper level.
I can totally see that in your work now. Your voice has this calm but powerful energy that makes people feel safe to be themselves.
Thank you, Jacob. That means a lot. I think when we honor our inner compass, we naturally bring more value to others.
Absolutely. And you know what's interesting? Sometimes we wait for permission from others or from society to do what we already know we want.
Yes, and sometimes, we are the only ones standing in our own way. Like how often do we say, "I'll do it when I'm ready," but we never really feel ready.
That's the trap, isn't it? We think readiness is a feeling, but it's really a decision.
Mic drop, can we quote you on that?
Haha, please do. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. I'll print that on a mug.
I'd buy it. But seriously, we need to talk more about how fear disguises itself. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers things like, maybe later, or just wait a little longer.
Exactly. Or it wraps itself in logic. Now isn't the right time because X, Y, Z. But often that's just fear dressed up as practicality.
It's like the mind builds a very convincing case to stay in the comfort zone.
And the comfort zone is so sneaky. It feels safe, but after a while it starts to feel like a cage.
Wow, that's powerful. A velvet cage, soft on the outside but limiting on the inside.
Perfect metaphor. And we don't even notice it until something shakes us up.
Like a life event, a health scare, a breakup, something that forces us to reevaluate.
Exactly. But what if we didn't wait for that shake up? What if we chose change consciously?
That would be revolutionary. Choosing growth before being forced into it.
Which brings us full circle to the idea that every day we have tiny opportunities to choose growth.
Yes. And those choices compound, just like compound interest, but for the soul.
I love that. Soul interest?
Haha, okay, now we're getting philosophical.
Isn't that what great conversations are for?
Absolutely. You know, I'm so grateful for moments like this, just two people reflecting on life and learning from each other.
Same here. And I hope everyone listening is feeling inspired to take a look at their own decisions, not with judgment, but with curiosity.
Yes, because life isn't about perfect choices, it's about intentional ones.
So true. And hey, maybe tonight's the night someone listening makes a decision that changes everything.
If that's you, we're cheering for you.
Big time.
Let's go deeper then. Jacob, when you decided to take the freelance path, did you ever have a moment where you thought, I made a mistake?
Oh, 100%. There were nights I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd just ruined my life. Especially in the beginning when the gigs were few and far between, and my bank balance looked like a countdown timer.
I feel that in my soul. It's such a lonely feeling too, isn't it? Because you made the decision, so now you feel like you have to pretend everything's fine, even when it's not.
Yes, it's like once you choose the road less traveled, you feel like you can't show weakness. Because people are already waiting to say, told you so.
Exactly. And that pressure can push people into faking happiness or hiding their struggles.
And what's worse is that social media makes it 10 times harder. You see everyone else succeeding, even if they're just as lost as you are.
The highlight reel effect. It's exhausting. I wish more people posted. Today I didn't know what I was doing, but I showed up anyway.
That would be so refreshing. Authenticity is rare online, but when it's there, it's magnetic.
You know, I think people are craving realness more than ever. We've all had enough of the filters and curated lives.
I agree. That's why conversations like this matter. They remind people they're not alone in their doubts or confusion.
Let's talk about comparison for a second. Do you still catch yourself doing it?
All the time. I'll see someone my age buying a house or launching a big project, and I start questioning my entire journey.
I get that. Comparison is such a thief of joy. But what helps you get out of that headspace?
Two things: gratitude and perspective. I try to zoom out and remember how far I've come. And I remind myself that everyone's race is different. Some are running sprints, others marathons.
That's beautifully said. I sometimes write a little note to myself that says, trust your timing. It helps on the rough days.
That's a great mantra. What's something you wish more people understood taking an unconventional path?
That uncertainty doesn't mean failure. It just means freedom. You're free to create, to pivot, to redefine what success looks like.
Yes, and success doesn't have to be loud. It can be quiet, like waking up without anxiety, or having a flexible afternoon to walk in nature.
Or even just having the space to rest without guilt. That's a success too.
You're speaking my language. I think more people are starting to realize that hustle isn't the only way.
I hope so. Rest is productive too, especially when it brings clarity.
It really is. Sometimes stepping back is how we move forward.
That's a mic drop moment again. Can we get a quote board going for you?
Let's do it. We'll call it Jacob's Journal, Quotes for the Creative Soul.
I love it. Maybe that's a real idea right there.
Hey, let's brainstorm more on that. It Could be a little side project, daily notes of encouragement for people like us.
Yes, simple, raw, real, no fluff, just truth.
Okay, so note to self, don't let that idea slip away after this episode.
I'll email you a reminder, deal.
Deal.
You know, it's funny how these conversations spark ideas we didn't even plan.
That's the magic of being present. You never know what might come alive.
Speaking of presence, how do you stay grounded when life gets loud?
Nature, journaling, and limiting noise. Like, I'll log out of everything and just sit with a pen and my thoughts.
That's powerful. Stillness can be such a teacher.
It's uncomfortable at first, but it always brings clarity. And you?
I talk to myself out loud, no joke. I'll ask, Sophia, what do you really need right now? Sometimes the answer surprises me.
That's actually brilliant. I might try that.
Do it. You'll be amazed what your inner voice reveals when you actually listen.
This conversation has been like therapy.
For me too. I hope our listeners are leaning in with open hearts.
And maybe journaling along with us.
Or talking to themselves in the mirror now, thanks to me.
If so, we fully support it.
100%.
So, Sophia, speaking of self-reflection, have you ever faced a moment where your confidence just completely disappeared?
Oh, so many times. I remember once, this was a few years back, I hosted a live session that totally flopped. Tech issues, awkward silence, barely any engagement. I felt so defeated afterward.
Ugh, I've had similar nightmares. And the worst part is how loud your inner critic becomes after something like that.
Yes, mine was like, you're not cut out for this. Why would anyone listen to you? It took me days to crawl out of that mindset.
It's wild how one bad moment can shake all the good progress we've made.
Exactly. That's when I started doing something called confidence journaling.
I've never heard of that. What is it?
It's simple, really. Every time something goes well, even the tiniest thing, I write it down. A kind message, a task I completed, a fear I faced. Then, when I'm doubting myself, I read it.
That's genius. It's like building evidence against the inner critic.
Yes, because your brain forgets, but your journal doesn't.
I'm going to start that tonight. I think my future self will thank me.
I know they will.
Speaking of tiny wins, sometimes I feel like we overlook them. Everyone's chasing big milestones, but the small wins are the real foundation.
100%. Like getting out of bed on a hard day, that's a win. Choosing rest over burnout, that's a win. Saying no when it's uncomfortable, huge win.
Honestly, I think we should normalize celebrating small things more. Like, hey, I drank enough water today.
I sent that one scary email.
I didn't spiral after reading a mean comment.
These are all worth cheering for. Maybe we need to create a little daily wins ritual for our audience.
Like a gratitude practice, but specifically for celebrating yourself.
Yes, and people could submit theirs anonymously, so we share them without pressure.
I love that. It would build community through honesty and celebration.
Because you're not weak for struggling. You're brave for continuing.
That line belongs on a wall.
Or a tat
Imagine, brave for continuing. Right over the heart.
with a little lightning bolt next to it.
You're speaking my aesthetic language now.
But seriously, if anyone's listening and feeling stuck, I hope you know that continuing, even quietly, even shakily, is a beautiful kind of courage.
And you don't have to be loud to be strong.
Or perfect to be worthy.
Can we do something fun before we wrap, like a lightning round?
Ooh yes, let's do it. Okay, first question. What's one word that describes your current season of life?
You.
Becoming. Next, what's a daily habit that keeps you sane?
Morning walks, you.
Talking to myself. Don't laugh.
No judgment here. Okay, dream collaboration.
Brené Brown, you.
Rick Rubin. I want to sit in silence and just absorb wisdom.
Last one, what's something you're proud of this week?
I asked for help when I normally wouldn't. You.
I rested without guilt. And I'm sitting here with you, having this heart, deep conversation.
That's a win for both of us.
And hopefully a win for everyone listening too.
Always. We're in this together.
Always.
Okay, so here's a fun twist. What's one thing you believed as a kid that you later found out wasn't true?
Oh, I have a hilarious one. I used to think that if you swallowed a seed like an apple, seed a tree would grow inside your stomach.
Laugh, same here. I was terrified of watermelons for that reason. I imagined vines coming out of my ears.
Kids are so imaginative. And a little dramatic.
Oh, definitely. I once believed that the moon followed me around wherever I went, like it was my personal spotlight.
That's actually kind of poetic. Mini Jacob with his moon companion.
It did feel magical. I miss how seriously we took wonder back then.
Right? Back then, clouds looked like castles, not just weather. We gave names to trees. We listened to the wind like it was whispering secrets.
Why do we stop doing that? Is it just growing up?
Maybe. Or maybe it's because no one encourages us to keep imagining once we're adults.
That's sad, and probably true. Like, when's the last time someone asked you, what did the clouds look like today?
Never. But I want to start asking it now. That should be a check in question. How did the sky feel today?
Ooh, I love that. Mine felt heavy today. Storm brewing, but also kind of thrilling. Yours?
Mine was soft and hazy, like the sky hadn't fully woken up. Gentle, quiet.
I feel like we're creating a whole new kind of weather report. The emotional forecast.
Laughs coming to you. Live. Today's clouds are shaped like dragons, with a 70% chance of overthinking and a scattered breeze of hope.
With a small chance of dancing in your kitchen for no reason.
Always a good idea. Honestly, dancing is underrated therapy.
Let's make a deal. If either of us feels low tomorrow, we dance. No matter what.
Shoes or no shoes.
Barefoot. Socks are too slippery.
Good call. And it has to be to a ridiculous song, like something from the early 2000s that makes zero lyrical sense.
Blue Badi by Eiffel 65. Or anything with cowbell.
Laughs done. The weirder, the better. Now we've got cloud checks and dance breaks. We're basically reinventing self-care.
Who needs productivity hacks when you've got childhood wonder and disco moves?
Exactly. And maybe the real glow up is just becoming the kid we used to be, but with better snacks and boundaries.
Put that on a mug.
Or a hoodie. Ooh, merch idea.
You're reading my mind. Grow up, glow up, play like a kid.
And on the back, sky hazy with a chance of joy.
That's beautiful. Maybe we should actually make it.
You know what? Why not?
You just lit a fire in me, Sophia. I feel like everything we talk about reminds me to live softer.
And everything you say reminds me that softness is strength.
This is why I love our chats. It's like soul hydration.
That's the perfect way to describe it.
You know, sometimes I think conversations like this are what we're all secretly craving. Not the headlines, not the hustle, just slow, genuine connection.
Yes, something real, not rushed. No pressure to perform or impress, just exist together in words.
And isn't it amazing how much you can discover about someone by the way they talk about clouds or childhood myths?
It's so true. The little things people say, when they think it's not important, that's where the gold is.
Like when someone tells you they still sleep with a small light on, not because they're scared, but because it feels like someone's watching over them.
Or when they admit they still make wishes on eyelashes, even if they don't believe they'll come true. It's beautiful.
Have you ever kept a secret wish to yourself for years?
I have. There's one I still carry. I've never told anyone.
Can I ask what it is?
Okay. It's simple. I've always wished I'd one day find a place where I could just belong without explanation. Not fit in, belong. Fully. Softly.
Wow, that's powerful. And it makes so much sense. Belonging without having to shrink or stretch yourself to fit.
Exactly. What about you, Jacob? Secret wish?
Mine's kind of odd. But here it goes. I've always wished I'd run into someone randomly, and they'd say something so meaningful. It would change the direction of my life forever.
Like a serendipitous stranger.
Yes. Like someone on a park bench who tells you just the right thing at the right moment. And you never see them again, but you remember them always.
That gives me goosebumps. It's cinematic, but it's also so human.
I think those little moments are magic. Even if they don't change our entire life, they remind us that something bigger might be guiding things.
I had a moment like that once. I was sitting alone in a library, kind of lost in my own sadness, and this older woman sat next to me. She didn't even look at me, but she said, Pain is just love that hasn't found a voice yet.
Whoa, that's deep.
It stuck with me. I never saw her again. I don't know if she meant it for me, but it healed something I didn't even know needed healing.
See, that's exactly what I meant. That right there, goosebumps again.
Laughs softly. Maybe we're all just walking around, hoping someone will say something that helps us feel a little less alone.
And maybe that's what we're doing here for whoever's listening.
I hope so. Even if just one person feels seen or heard, that's enough.
More than enough.
So Jacob, what would you say if you were that park bench stranger today? What would be your one sentence?
Okay. I'd say, you don't have to earn rest, you're allowed to be tired.
That's beautiful. You've just become someone's unexpected stranger.
And you.
I'd say, you are not too much, and you never were.
I wish someone had told me that a long time ago.
Then I'm glad I said it now.
Sophia, these talks, they matter more than you know.
And they're not over yet.
There's something really healing about being heard without being fixed.
That's such a good point. Sometimes people jump in with advice too quickly, like they're uncomfortable sitting with your pain.
Right. But what we really need isn't a solution. We need someone to say, I see you. That must be hard.
I remember once telling someone I was struggling, and they just said, that sounds really heavy. Do you want to talk more or just sit quietly together? And I swear, that moment felt like a warm blanket around my soul.
That's the kind of presence everyone deserves. No pressure, just presence.
Exactly. I think we underestimate how powerful silence can be. Supportive silence, not awkward silence.
Absolutely. Like two people watching the sky and saying nothing, but somehow sharing everything.
Have you ever had a friendship like that, where just being near them felt like home?
I did, years ago. It didn't last forever, but it left a mark. We didn't even talk that much. We'd sit on a rooftop and just look out over the city, sipping coffee.
That sounds beautiful. What happened?
Life, distance, different paths. But I think we both knew it was a season, not a forever.
I've had seasons like that too. People who entered my life just when I needed them most, then drifted away, like autumn leaves.
Yeah. And even if they're gone, they never really leave, do they?
No, they don't. Their impact stays. The way they made you feel. The things they taught you. The way you laughed with them.
Or the way they helped you see yourself differently, more kindly.
That's so true. One person can shift your entire self-image with one honest sentence.
Like, you don't have to be strong all the time. Or, you are not a burden. Words like that, they stay with you.
It's amazing how a few well-timed words can become your internal compass.
Yeah. I think our hearts remember kindness longer than anything else.
And maybe that's what makes life bearable, the quiet kindnesses. A hand on your shoulder. A message when you're low. A smile when you feel invisible.
And these conversations too. The ones where you don't have to pretend.
Where it's okay to be soft. To be real. To be a little broken and still deeply worthy.
Sophia, I hope people listening know this isn't just a show. This is us being human. Together.
I hope so too. And if they're feeling lost or tired right now, I want them to know it's okay. You don't have to have it all figured out. You're allowed to rest.
You're allowed to feel. You're allowed to not be okay sometimes.
And you're definitely allowed to take your time healing.
No deadlines on the heart, right?
Exactly. The heart moves at the speed of honesty.
That's going on my wall.
Laughs, I'll send you a framed version.
Deal.
Sometimes it feels like we're all just walking each other home. A little bit of guidance here. A hand held there. And before you know it, we're at the doorstep of something better.
I love that. It's like we're all just trying to find our way, and sometimes the best thing you can do is walk beside someone while they figure it out.
And it's not about having all the answers. It's just about being present. About showing up, even if all you have to offer is a listening ear.
I think we underestimate how powerful that is. Just being present. No judgment, no expectations. Just showing up as you are.
And I think that's where real connection happens, when you stop trying to fix everything and just sit with someone. Let them feel heard and understood, even if nothing changes immediately.
Yeah, and sometimes just having that space to talk, to express what's in your mind, can bring clarity. You don't need someone to solve your problems. You just need someone who's willing to be a safe place for you to process.
Exactly. It's like a pressure valve. Sometimes when you talk, even if it's to yourself or to a friend, you let off steam, and suddenly things feel more manageable. Not easier, necessarily, but more bearable.
It's like giving your emotions room to breathe. Instead of bottling them up, you just let them exist for a moment without fear of judgment. And that can make a huge difference in how we carry them.
I've had days where I felt so overwhelmed, but once I voiced it, even just to myself, it didn't seem as big. It's almost like it loses some of its power when it's shared.
Yeah, almost like it becomes less scary once you shine a light on it. Kind of like a monster in the dark. Once you turn on the light, it's just a shadow.
I like that metaphor. It reminds me of how we tend to make things bigger in our heads when we keep them in the dark. But when we bring them out into the open, they don't seem so terrifying anymore.
Totally. I think that's why so many people hold on to things for so long, because they're afraid of what will happen if they finally let it out. But the truth is, most of the time, the release is more freeing than the silence.
You're right. And even if we're not ready to share everything right away, just acknowledging it to ourselves can be the first step. Saying, yeah, I'm struggling. But that doesn't mean I'm weak. It just means I'm human.
I think that's something a lot of us forget. We don't have to carry everything in silence or pretend we're okay when we're not. We're allowed to lean on others, to ask for help.
And asking for help doesn't make you any less strong. It makes you wise enough to know that we don't do this alone.
Exactly. And sometimes the people you least expect will be the ones who show up for you. Those quiet moments when someone just says, "I've got your back," can mean more than anything else.
It's the little things, right? The text just to check in. The hug when words aren't enough. The quiet presence that says, you're not alone.
Sometimes I think we take those small moments for granted, but they're the ones that build the foundation of real relationships. It's in the subtle things that we create the strongest bonds.
I couldn't agree more. We often think we need grand gestures or big displays to feel loved. But it's really the everyday moments that matter most.
Those everyday moments become the stories we'll tell one day, not the big, perfect moments, but the quiet ones when everything felt imperfect, yet still okay.
Like the times when you're just sitting next to someone, doing nothing, but somehow feeling like you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Or the times when you have no idea what you're doing, but you do it together anyway. Those are the moments that teach you about trust, about vulnerability.
I think that's the beauty of life, really. Not all of it is about getting things right or achieving some perfect version of success. It's about showing up for the moments, being with the people, and embracing the process.
And the mistakes too. The things that didn't go as planned, but ended up teaching you something you needed to learn.
Those moments are often the ones that change us the most. We think failure is the end, but sometimes, it's just the beginning of a new chapter.
Yeah, failure is just growth in disguise. It's painful, but it always pushes us to evolve. We just have to trust that there's always something to learn from it.
I love that perspective. It's so freeing, knowing that every mistake is actually a stepping stone to becoming the person we're meant to be.
And even when we don't see it right away, the pieces always fall into place eventually.
Life has a way of surprising us, doesn't it?
It really does. And sometimes we don't have to know the plan, we just have to take the next step, however small, and trust that we're moving in the right direction.
That's the key, just keep going. Even when the road feels uncertain.
Exactly. As long as you keep moving forward, even at your own pace, you're headed where you need to be.
I think that's a good place to wrap things up for today. This has been such a heartwarming conversation, and I hope it brings some comfort to anyone listening.
Same here. Life can be tough, but there's beauty in the journey, especially when we have others to walk it with.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here today, Jacob. And to all our listeners, remember you're not alone in this.
Take care, everyone, and keep showing up for yourselves.
Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Before we wrap things up, Jacob, any last thoughts you'd like to share?
I just want to remind everyone that it's okay to take your time. Life isn't a race, and we all move at different speeds. So, be kind to yourself and don't rush your own growth. You'll get there when you're meant to.
That's such a powerful reminder. I think we all need to hear that sometimes. It's easy to feel behind, but we're all on our own unique journey, and that's okay.
Exactly. And to anyone out there who might be struggling, just know that this moment is temporary. You have everything you need to get through it, and brighter days are ahead.
Beautifully said. Thank you again, Jacob, for joining us today, and to everyone listening, take care of yourselves. Remember, you're stronger than you think.
Thank you, Sophia. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We're all in this together. Keep growing, keep learning, and don't forget to take a moment to breathe.
Absolutely. And for all our listeners, if this episode resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the English R. We'll be back with more conversations, stories, and reflections. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Until next time.